open. That's the other one.
Good morning, everyone. I know you heard that. All right, again. You are the light of the world. When Jesus spoke these words, he did so from an awareness that we have an unlimited source of light. We are divine beings, children of God, made in the image and likeness of our source, divine mind, God, however you want to describe the beingness that is the universe, or universes, is what scientists are telling us now. But that indwelling Christ is represented by the symbol of light. So I'm going to light the Christ candle this morning, which is a symbol of that light within us. So we invite everyone joining us this morning to create your sacred space, especially those who are with us using either Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, remotely or virtually, but especially for those who are here now. We form that bond of oneness with each other, and we do that allowing that Christ light within each of us to shine. Again, I want to say good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Unity. My name is Julie Henson, and I am one of the licensed Unity teachers here at Unity of Columbus. And it is my divine pleasure to be with you this morning. And it's a great joy to welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. Our speaker today is Michelle Harcha, and she is a certified trainer with Byron Katie's work. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, so Michelle, tell me, what's it called?
A certified facilitator of the work of Byron Katie.
Okay, the work of Byron Katie. And it's usually called something. Loving What Is?
Oh, Loving What Is the book.
Oh, Loving What Is how I remember it. It is the name of the book. But it's a tremendous realization and insight that she reached based on her own experience. That's Byron Katie. And now there are people who are certified to pass on that knowledge and help others experience that kind of a realization of the good that's always there in their lives, no matter what's going on. So we'll hear from Michelle in a little bit. But now let's practice our statement of faith, which is the foundation of our Unity thought and principles. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all love. Let's say that together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all love. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and give thought to that statement of oneness. So again, let's take that statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all love. And unity is a way of life. And our church has formulated its mission, vision, and value statement. And Darren, our board president, is with us this morning, and he has posted it so that you can see it here posted. Let's take our vision statement together. United in spirit, we are a loving community, co-creating a world of peace, abundance, and joy for all. And now, our mission statement. With God as our source, Unity of Columbus inspires people to realize and express their divine nature in an awakening world. And our values, answering the call of spirit. We are creative, authentic, learning, and loving. CALL. That's the DNA of our spiritual community. And at this time, one of my favorite prayer practices each day is to read our daily word. Our daily word for this morning, July 18, 2021, is realize. The affirmation is, I realize the power of spiritual truth. I have had many aha moments throughout my life when something that had befuddled me for years suddenly became clear. It may have been something I tried to learn in school, a skill I practiced and tried to master as I grew, or even an idea that challenged my understanding of the world around me. Whenever I realized something new, I could feel my world expanding, opening up before me in fresh and exciting ways, making me eager to discover even more. On my spiritual journey, I feel a similar excitement as I realize I have so much more than a spark of divinity within me. I am fully divine, just as I am fully human. I feel newly alive in the realization and so very grateful for it all. And our verse comes from Genesis chapter 28, verse 16. Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." Again, the word is realize, and I'm going to repeat the affirmation one more time and ask you to repeat it with me. I realize the power of spiritual truth. Together, I realize the power of spiritual truth. And just to let you know, Unity is the publisher of the Daily Word magazine. And now I'm inviting up our guest speaker this morning, Michelle Harcha, to give us our meditation.
If it is comfortable for you to do so, please close your eyes. Sit comfortably with your feet on the floor. Relax your body, bringing your awareness inward. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. In this meditation, we will be cultivating loving kindness, first to ourselves and then to others. It is a wish that everyone be happy. Now allow yourself to remember your basic goodness. You might remember times where you have been kind or generous. You might recall your natural desire to be happy. Look at yourself through the eyes of someone who loves you. What does that person love about you? You may recall the unconditional love you felt from a beloved pet. And as you experience this love, notice how you feel in your body. Maybe you feel some warmth, or you smile, or you have a feeling of expansiveness. This is loving kindness, a natural feeling that is accessible to all of us, always in the present moment. Rest with this feeling of open, unconditional love. Let yourself bask in the energy of loving kindness, breathing in and breathing out, inviting thoughts and feelings of peace, love, and acceptance. And now begin by extending words of loving kindness to yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be held in loving kindness. May I feel connected and calm. May I accept myself just as I am. May I be happy. May I know the natural joy of being alive. Now, open the circle of loving kindness by bringing to your mind's eye someone who is special to you, someone whom you care about and who has always been supportive. Reflect on this person's basic goodness, sensing what you love about him or her. In your heart, feel your appreciation for this special person and begin your simple offering. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel my love now. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. May you know the natural joy of being alive. And now bring to your mind's eye someone with whom you've had a difficult relationship. Perhaps it's someone you don't like to feel empathy or compassion for. Remind yourself to see this person as a whole being, a child of God, deserving of love. Extend to this person the words of loving kindness. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel my love now. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. May you know the natural joy of being alive. Now, allow your awareness to open in all directions to all beings, humans and animals living everywhere, and extend words of loving kindness. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings everywhere be free. And now bring this practice to a close by coming back to extend loving kindness to yourself. May I be held in loving kindness. May I be safe and happy. May I be healthy in body and in mind. May I always have enough. May my heart know love and peace. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. And so it is.
Sing to ourselves with I. May I be filled I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy.
And again, our guest speaker this morning is Michelle Harcha. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me back. I was here in September of last year, and so much has transpired in the world since then. So just very humbled and honored. So hello to those of you on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to those of you who chose to be here in the congregation today. So thank you. And so the message for Unity this month is understanding. And today's specific message is, with spiritual understanding, I know everything is unfolding for my highest good. And when I got the email to invite me back, I looked at the message and I thought, this is exactly the talk that I need to give at this moment, this time. Everything unfolding for my highest good, everything unfolding for your highest good. So the title today is, How is this in Divine Order? I was really privileged to be born to wonderful parents who had a strong faith, growing up in the Methodist Church, and especially my father, just the pillar of a spiritual mentor to me and continues to be. And when I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio to practice veterinary medicine, I was invited by one of my spiritual mentors, Dean McGrain, to a Unity Burning Bowl service. And from that moment forward, I was hooked on the message of Unity churches. And wherever I go, I participate in the Unity faith. Well, early in my lifetime, I was a junior in high school and happened to be in a bookstore in Portsmouth, Ohio. And as I walked through the aisles, there was a book that stood out, a book called Your Erroneous Zones by the author Dr. Wayne Dyer. Dr. Wayne Dyer has been a pillar in my life. I've read all his books, followed his teaching, and attended many of his lectures and talks. And one message Dr. Wayne Dyer gave early in my life was this quote: "Each experience in your life was necessary to have gotten you to this next place and the next, up until this very moment." Sure, I can say thank you for all the good experiences. It's the challenging ones that I oftentimes, in the midst of the challenge, didn't see how that particular situation was for my highest good. So what are the stepping stones of your life? And when I say stepping stones, I'm talking about the significant emotional events in your life of which you had a choice to pivot towards spiritual awakening or to make a different spiritual choice. According to Dr. Ira Progoff, who wrote the book, at a journal workshop, stepping stones are these significant points of movement in our lifetime. And I would suggest that these stepping stones help us understand the divine order, our purpose in our lives. And I've done this journal writing workshop a number of times. And my first stepping stone is about my dog, Bimbo. So Bimbo was a basset hound. And when she was 13 years old and I was 13 years old, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And at that time, there weren't many treatments for cancer. In fact, Treatments were only done at academic institutions like The Ohio State University. And my parents, animal lovers like me, we used to drive Bimbo up to Ohio State for radiation therapy. And on March 15th, 1972, my dog Bimbo passed away, devastating for a 13-year-old. And I can remember that night sitting in the tree looking up to heaven and telling my dog Bimbo, I will find a cure for cancer. Again, this seed of cancer planted early in my life, I made a promise to my dog. And that promise propelled me towards a career in veterinary medicine. 2 weeks later, my grandfather, who was a veterinarian, passed away. And I saw this as my opportunity to continue his legacy, continuing my life in the veterinary profession. It's interesting, I'm a coach as well, and I do life coaching. And when I meet people anywhere, I always am curious as to how come they made the career choice that they did. You know, how come you chose to be a minister, a doctor, whatever it is you chose to do, an attorney. And it's fascinating. Sometimes it's the tragedies, so-called tragedies in our life, that propel us to do a life of service, a life of leading a higher purpose. Most recently, I was at a Pelotonia event, Pelotonia, the bike ride that raises money for cancer research at Ohio State, and met a student at Ohio State by the name of Erin Westbrook. Erin founded a company called Form 5 Prosthetics. He's the founder and CEO as a student. And the reason that Erin formed this company is because he was born without one hand. And the prosthetics were expensive and they didn't fit well. And so he decided to form a company that provides prosthetics to children. And I think, now why did I meet Erin? He was looking at making prosthetics for animals, and I was able to connect him to our dean at the College of Veterinary Medicine, who during Hurricane Katrina made a prosthetic for a pony called Molly. And you can read Molly's beautiful story online in the service of the higher self that she is doing out in the world. Again, how is this in divine order? And you think of some of the tragedies that happen. For example, MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, founded because one mother lost her daughter in 1980, and that started a movement around the world. In 1984, a classmate of mine lost his brother to a drunk driver in Puerto Rico. His mother formed a MAD chapter in Puerto Rico. Are there any coincidences? I've often heard the term God incidents. Are there any coincidences? Albert Einstein said that coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. That's pretty amazing. And most recently, as I was preparing for this talk, there were two newspaper articles that talked about the coincidence, I would say God incidents. A woman in Grove City, where I'm from, noticed that the kitchen was quiet. Her 2-year-old daughter was missing, not there. She saw that the door outside was cracked. She ran outside, and there was her 2-year-old daughter face down in the pool. She pulled her out and did not know CPR and started to scream. At the very moment she was screaming, 5 doors down, an off-duty police officer pulls into his driveway, opens the door. Coincidence or God incidents? He runs to the noise, to the screaming, begins CPR until the squad arrives, and the daughter lived. Just an amazing story. Again, I would say a God incidence. There was another story, and since I'm a veterinarian, I always have to bring animals in. There was a story in the New York Times about Alfie, a swan, who was rather aggressive towards jet skiers and boaters. Some would say that Alfie was provoked by the jet skiers, but because Alfie was a swan, there were many people who wanted to move Alfie to a different place, but the rules and the laws didn't allow the wildlife authorities to do so. So the decision was made for humane euthanasia. On the day of the scheduled humane euthanasia, there was a swan that people noticed got stuck in fishing wire, and Alfie's beak was wrapped in fishing line. And so wildlife officials rescued Alfie, moved Alfie to a different place. Coincidence or God incidents? Who knows? So fast forward to 2006. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And on the way home from going to my surgeon's office, I called my mother. Now that year at the Burning Bowl and the White Stone ceremony, I had written that my intention was to spend time with my family and friends. And the weekend after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was scheduled to go to Las Vegas with my beloved sister-in-law and her sister. So what do you do when you're diagnosed with cancer? You go to Las Vegas. And I debated, but there was a calling that I needed to go there. I was scheduled to go to a concert while I was there by a singer-songwriter called Clint Holmes. Dr. Charlie Neer, who a mentor, a colleague, a veterinarian, who I took over his job at Ohio State when he retired. His son Greg played trumpet in the band with Clint Holmes. And so as I'm sitting here in this concert, and as Clint gets ready to finish with his last song, he said, about maybe 6 months ago, we had to take some time off. And out of the blue, a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, Clint, I had a dream about you last night. I'm not sure what it means. I just think if you haven't been to see a doctor, that you might want to." And Clint said that I'd been sitting with this prescription for a colonoscopy for over a year and decided to go get it. And so he goes to get his colonoscopy. He's diagnosed with cancer. He has surgery, which is curative. He doesn't need chemo or radiation. And he said, as I'm sitting there in the audience, he said, "I tell this story because I know there's one person who will be impacted here tonight." I'm like, I wanted to scream, "It's me, it's me." And he said, somebody will, as a result of me sharing this story, will be impacted. It was unbelievable. It was as if God had delivered me to that concert that night to hear that message. He has this beautiful song called "If Not Now When" that I played to every single treatment and when I went to see my doctors, and it helped me make the surgical decisions that I did. If not now, when? A God incidence, no doubt, part of being there, serving a higher purpose. I've also often said, so I had surgery which was curative, did not need to have radiation or chemotherapy. I've often said that we go through what we go through to help others. How can I find meaning in that? I remember after the concert, I went to get something to eat, and I remember I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, I got a sense that this is God's purpose for my life, that my having cancer will serve those who are yet to be diagnosed, who are dealing or struggling with a family member. That's my purpose for going through what I'm going through. I've had an opportunity to serve by participating in Pelotonia, Komen of Columbus, and for my family members who have died from other cancers, my beloved sister-in-law of pancreatic cancer, involved in the pancreatic cancer walk every year, and my mom who passed from lung cancer, again, participating in the lung cancer walk every year. To me, it's like a walking meditation to honor their life and their legacy. Dr. Viktor Frankl published Man's Search for Meaning in 1945, and he lived through the horrors of the Holocaust, a prisoner in Auschwitz and Dachau. And he said, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And he talks about meaning, and I would say meaning is spiritual understanding, the topic of today's lesson. Spiritual understanding can come from three possible sources: purpose for work, having a purpose. God has a plan and a purpose for our lives. Love, and courage in the face of difficulty. Fast forward to 2011. I'm out of town. My dog, Maddie, a black Labrador retriever, jumped off the bed and was limping. As I brought her back to Columbus and was getting ready to take her to Ohio State to have some x-rays, I thought, I probably need to do a good physical exam to make sure everything else is okay. As I was palpating down her thyroid, I picked up a nodule, and I remembered Bimbo, the story of Bimbo. And here I was given an opportunity to early diagnose my own dog again. So took Maddie to Ohio State. Maddie had surgery. She didn't need chemo. She didn't need radiation. She did fine. Later that summer, when I was preparing for Pelotonia, Channel 10 got word of our story. So for Maddie, it was early diagnosis, was helpful in sustaining her life. And for me, a yearly mammogram detecting my cancer early also set me on the path towards healing. And so they interviewed Maddie and me and talked about the importance of early diagnosis, prevention measures in all species, human and animals. You know, it's the ripple effect. I don't know who watched that night. I'm guessing someone in the audience heard that message and did something as a result. Perhaps they just needed to hear that message on TV that night. Perhaps they got a mammogram, or perhaps they took their dog in for a physical exam. We never know the ripple effect of who we are in the world and who we meet and what we say to one person, the contribution, the difference we may make in their life. Well, what about those things that are true tragedies? And I think to the building that collapsed in Miami Beach. I watched the coverage, hoping and praying that someone would be found alive. And what I appreciated so much about all the news stations is that they would interview rabbis and priests and ministers to provide words of comfort for us humans that can't even grasp the nature of this tragedy, the weight of the tragedy. CNN interviewed Rabbi Shalom Lipskar, and he said, "This is something that transcends our capacity for understanding. It is a reality. We accept it, and we have to learn resilience to move forward because challenges don't hold us back." And then he talked about this extraordinary outpouring of love and empathy and support, not just from the Miami Beach community, the entire world. Also interviewed was Rabbi Elliott Pearlson on ABC News. 7 members of his congregation were thought to be among the missing. And when asked how he ministers to his congregation, he said, "We can't control why bad things happen to people. We can control how we react. And it's amazing the outpouring of love and support." He talked again about support from the community, support from the world. This is Earth School. I love Wayne Dyer's quote, and I've heard it attributed to many people. "You are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience." There are some things that as the Rabbi said, transcends our capacity for human understanding. So how does this apply to you? What can you do? How is this, your situation, your life, this person in your life, how is this in divine order? What are some things I can do to understand divine order now versus maybe next year or 10 years from now as I look back on my life? One way is to journal. I mentioned Dr. Progoff's book. There are many books on journal. I might just take a blank piece of paper, write on the top, how is this in divine order? And see what comes through as I write. How is this in divine order? Just let it flow. Get the mind on paper. Insights. Trust the wisdom inside yourself. Meditation. Number 2, meditation. There are thousands of studies now that show the benefits of meditation for depression, anxiety, for well-being. I like Oprah and Deepak meditation. I do it every morning, about 10 minutes. There are plenty of classes online that you can do. You can meditate. And there was a study that suggested that people at the age of 50 who meditate can have the same brain matter as that of a 26-year-old. So there's many health benefits to meditating. Cognitive behavioral therapy. I was part of a research study at Ohio State with breast cancer survivors and cognitive behavioral therapy. There are some books and programs online that you can do, and it's questioning what I think and believe. I'm also a huge advocate for mental health services. There's no shame or harm in talking to someone, whether that be a minister, a counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a faith leader, or your healthcare team. I'm also a certified facilitator of the work of Byron Katie. And if there's a troubling situation from your past, or if there's a limiting belief that is keeping you from your divine purpose, those thoughts, those beliefs can be taken to the work. The work is simply 4 questions and turnarounds. We ask ourselves, is this true? Is this belief true? Is this thought true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? And then we look, who am I with this thought? What are the costs? What does it cost me to believe this? How do I feel? Where do I feel that in my body? How do I treat others? How do I treat myself when I believe this thought? And then the 4th question, who would I be without this thought? Free. And then we look to the signature of the work, which is the turnarounds, looking to see if the opposite or the other or the self is true. I also was gifted with a mentor of mine, Kay Shepard, who wrote the book Food Addiction, The Body Knows, which is one of my addictions growing up that I'm in charge of now. But Kay always says, bless them, change me. Bless them, change me. In fact, it's impossible to change other people. The only one I can change is me, what I think and what I believe. So the work of Byron Katie, and then a book that I will suggest and recommend that you read is called Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. I'm in a coaching program, coaching credentialing program, and this is one of my electives with Dr. Mary Lee Adams. A phenomenal book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. And she talks about the difference between a learner mindset and a judger mindset. So a learner mindset, Katie would call it an open mindset. I ask questions, how is this for me? How can I help? How can I serve? A judger mindset is more of a blaming, critical. They did this to me. What's wrong with them? And it's important to have an awareness. What mindset am I in? Am I open to everything? Which I would say, am I open to spiritual understanding in this situation? Or do I have a closed mindset, blaming everyone and everything? She said this quote, "Every thought we have is preceded by a question." So I'm going to repeat that. It took me a while to understand that. Every thought we had is preceded by a question. So if I change my questions in my life, I'll change the results that I get. And I would say that a learner mindset is a spiritual mindset. How is this forming? How is this in divine order? So the title of today's talk was a question for a reason. If you begin your day every day with this question, how may I serve? Your life will shift. And if during your day, every person that comes into your space, every situation that happens, yes, the slow traffic or the slow person in the checkout line or things that I just don't understand, asking the question, how is this in divine order? How is this for my highest good will shift the way you look at life. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's a quote by Wayne Dyer and a song by Karen Drucker. And if you end the day with this question, what am I grateful for? Many spiritual masters, teachers suggest that you write 3 things that you're grateful for at the conclusion of every day. It will shift your life. There's evidence-based research that shows that that will enhance your well-being. So here's what I know for sure. God has a plan and a purpose for your life. Every day we're here. The unity message for the month. With spiritual understanding, I know everything is unfolding for my highest good. Asking the spiritual questions. How is this in divine order? How is this for my highest good? If you change to these spiritual questions, it will shift and change your life. And so it is.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. That was a wonderful, inspiring message. And Michelle will be sharing more of her wisdom and her learnings and her mindset and how do we shift our own in a workshop this afternoon. So I invite everyone who would like to hear more to come to Wilson Hall. I think there will be individualized wrapped refreshments first, and then we will all together work with the work of Byron Katie through our facilitator, Michelle. Again, thank you, Michelle. That was just wonderful. All right, at this point in our service, I want to say we prosper as a community through acts of giving. Our ministry is supported fully by your tax-deductible tithes, gifts, and love offerings. And we are so grateful for you. We live in an abundant universe. And I invite you to affirm with me our offering blessing. I'll speak it once and invite you to join me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. So again, take your blessing in your hand, and let's repeat that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Again, we give thanks for all of you who are here this morning, either here seated in our congregation or remotely. And we also want to give thanks again for this wonderful service, the Sunday experience with Michelle Harkey. And our beloved Jim Maneri. Thank you. Thanks to everyone that makes this service possible. And again, thanks to each of you for being here. We do have a few announcements. Oops. I want to bring to your attention again that we have a picnic on August 1st. That's a Sunday. And we have sign-up sheets out in the lobby on the desk for people to assist with both the setup and the cleanup. We will need food servers, and we also need people to help bring the food. And I'm always amazed at how much food there is and how many people are fed and how much is left over. But we always have some really good cooks in this congregation. So come out and assist and have fun with the rest of us. I also want to announce that Wednesday evenings, 6:30 to 7 is a meditation hour. Right now it's being hosted by our board president, Erin Wells, and we're doing Joe Goldsmith's book, The Infinite Way. So you can sign on to that, or it's a Zoom platform for that service. But come August the 4th, Roxy Ball, my good friend and partner in this endeavor of service, will begin a class, a book discussion. We're going to use Unity and A Course in Miracles, and it explores what are the common paths that these two works, one by our two founders,